Greetings, it's Brittany from Holistic Lactation 365, and today we're going to talk about how to know if your baby is getting enough milk. This is a really common concern for new breastfeeding moms, new breastfeeding families. Everyone wants to know, how do I know anything is coming out of there? How do I know if the baby is getting enough? I want to make sure my baby is getting all the nutrition that they need to thrive and do well. When it comes to infant nutrition, you have to keep a couple of things in mind. The way that the body makes milk is off of a supply and demand model. The more the baby feeds, the more milk you will produce. On the first few days after you give birth, you will have a special milk called colostrum. Colostrum is thick, it's sticky, it's very nutritious, and it is the perfect first food for your baby. Now here's the thing, you will not feel like you have anything in your breast at that time. The breast will still feel pretty much normal. It typically is not until about day maybe 3, 4, 5 that most moms start to feel significant changes in their breasts, where the breasts get heavier, they get fuller, they get warmer as the milk is really starting to bump up. Now, if you have a mom who doesn't feel like she has anything for the first day or 2, maybe 3, she may be likely to give breast milk substitutes like formula because she wants to make sure the baby is getting what they need. However, as long as your baby latches well, is peeing, is pooping, and is growing appropriately, you're usually doing just fine. So that first 24 hours of life, you want the baby to have at least 1 pee, at least 1 poop. That's a good sign of nutrition. Day 2, you want 2 pees, 2 poops. Day 3, 3 pees, 3 poops. Day 4, 4 pees, 4 poops. And after day 4, we would really like to see the baby have at least 4 poops a day and at least 6 pees a day. That's a really good sign that nutrition is going well. If it's going in, it should be coming out that back end, all right? Now, another thing that you're going to really pay attention to is the latch. A very deep, effective latch will help the baby to draw that first milk, that colostrum, out more easily. Now, if you were to try and get that colostrum to come out on your own by pumping, most likely you won't have as much success because colostrum is thick and sticky like honey. The pump does not always take it out. It's not that you don't have it, it's just the pump is not as effective as a well-latching baby. A well-latching baby is literally perfectly designed to extract that milk. Sometimes if a mother is having difficulty or mom needs to be separated from baby, maybe baby went to the NICU, something out of the ordinary, we have to help mothers to extract their milk by hand or with a pump, but the hand typically works better than the pump for extracting colostrum. So just keep that in mind. There is a technique called hand expression or manual expression where you can use your hands to literally express milk from the breast. Remember, the hand is the original breast pump that women have had for thousands of years. So for the first couple of days, I encourage all of my mama clients to really focus on getting a good deep latch and not so much to worry about how much they feel like they have, because it's very likely that you won't feel like you have much for the first couple days. So when your baby is latched on well, they should have lots of breast in the mouth, not just the nipple. They should have a mouthful of breast. Remember, babies breastfeed. They don't nipple feed, they breastfeed. So getting a deep latch, which is having lots of breast in the mouth, where the nipple is way in the back of the mouth, that will help the baby to draw more milk more effectively from your breast. When a baby is on the breast well, they do not come off easily, okay? They really form a seal to the breast, to the point where if you needed to take them off, you would need to break that seal to the breast first by lifting up on their top lip or getting your finger in between on the corner of their mouth, in between their gums, so they can open before you pull them off. Also, when they're on the breast well, the feeding is typically quiet. If you're hearing, that's a sign that the baby is losing that seal to the breast. So we really want to work on getting that deep latch. Remember, you are not alone on your journey. If you need help, I would love to support you on that journey. I help mothers every month to get prepared for their breastfeeding journey in my Blissful Breastfeeding programs. I love to work with moms during pregnancy, and then of course, once they deliver after, we continue to work together. So if you're interested in any of my virtual lactation services, I will put that information somewhere in this video. Now, weight. Weight is another determining factor of how the baby is doing at the breast. If a baby is growing, that's a good sign. So there is an exception to that. The first week that you give birth, most babies do lose a bit of weight. It's expected. Your pediatrician will monitor to make sure your baby is not dropping too much weight. Ideally, we do not want babies to lose more than 10% of their birth weight that first week, but it is very common. Now, after week 1, your baby should start gaining weight, and babies should really get back to their birth weight by the end of week 2. So by the end of 14 days, your baby should be back to their birth weight or possibly even more. That is a good sign that things are going well. So breastfeeding, it does require a bit of faith in a sense. You have to trust the process, but you're not just gonna go blindly. You're gonna take a look at how things appear to be going overall. And of course, use your intuition. If you feel like something is not right, if you feel like something is off, if you're just like, I don't know, don't hesitate to reach out to a lactation professional. I am a international board certified lactation consultant. I would love to support you. There are lots of professionals in the community, lactation counselors in your community. There are breastfeeding support groups, mommy meetup groups. Of course, reach out to your pediatrician. Oftentimes they are aware of local lactation consultants, lactation professionals in your community that they can connect you with, and you continue to work on your breastfeeding journey. So don't ever feel like you have a silly question, a dumb question. There's no silly question when it comes to the overall health and well-being of your baby, okay? Yes, and the goal is that mom is thriving, baby is thriving, everybody is alive and well, okay? So back to the weight. Yes, we want baby growing appropriately. As long as the baby latches well, is peeing, is pooping, and is growing, you're usually doing fine. Now we're gonna talk about just a few more signs before I bring this video to a close. Once the milk comes in a lot more fully, which typically happens somewhere between day 3 and day 5, we usually start to hear swallows. So literally you can hear the baby swallowing. And if you have the TV on, you might have to turn it down because it's a very quiet sound. It almost sounds like a little k. Can y'all hear that? K. It's like a little puff of air, but you can hear it. So there'll be a suck, suck, swallow, suck, 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 swallow, suck, 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 swallow. You should hear swallows. When they're on there and they're actively feeding, there's movement up under the chin. Sometimes when they're really going, their little ears are even wiggling as well. Mother's breasts should feel softer. Now, this isn't during the first couple of days when you have the colostrum, but once the milk has started to change over to mature milk, which is that fuller, more milky looking milk. The colostrum is really thick and sticky like a honey. It's yellow, and more mature milk has more of a whitish tinge to it, and there's a lot more of it. So once that milk starts to change around day 3, day 4, day 5, when it's time to feed, mom's breast will most likely feel full. And after the baby feeds, the breast should feel softer. That's another good sign that the feedings are going well. Mom can literally feel her breast. And that's one thing, we've been disconnected from our bodies in so many ways. We don't feel anymore. You know, a lot of things are very mechanical in our society, but one thing about motherhood and nurturing and even being a birth worker like I am, I'm a doula, I am a lactation consultant, I am a registered nurse, and I worked as a labor nurse for many years. It's all about the feeling. And unfortunately, we've lost our sense of connection to ourselves. And so I encourage moms to go back, to look within, to feel what they need to do. You know, ultimately, when you're really in tune, when you're truly, truly in tune, not that there's anything wrong with asking for help. It's always good to seek wise counsel as need be. But when you're truly in tune, you don't need anyone to tell you what to do, okay? You can go to the doctor and you can tell the doctor, hey, something's going on with my heart, or something's going on with my liver, or something's going on with my gallbladder, because you're that in tune with your body. And then the doctor does their exam and they're like, wow, you're right. How did you know that? Because I'm in tune. And so mothers, expecting moms, keep that in mind. Go within, pray, meditate, whatever it is that is your personal practice to help keep you balanced and whole. It's important that you continue to do those things along your pregnancy and, excuse me, once you give birth. When a mother is nourished, she will flourish, and so will her baby. A nourished mother is a blessing to everyone that she loves, everyone that she serves, and you don't want to cross her, okay? So kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but when it comes to making milk for your baby and knowing that your baby is getting enough, your best bet is to allow your baby to feed as often as they want, okay? The more they feed, the more you should produce. Work on that deep latch. Lots of breast in the mouth, not just the nipple. Okay, you're gonna look for other signs. Is my baby having lots of pees? Is my baby having lots of poops? That's a good sign of nutrition. Oh, does my baby look relaxed after feeding? Okay, babies are kind of like us. When they are satisfied, they just, they drift off into a little sleepy state afterwards. Some people call it milk drunk. That's another good sign that the feedings are going well. Now, there are moments in a breastfeeding day where babies may cluster feed, which is where they want to feed back to back to back to back to back, and they may seem a little fussy, a little cranky. I'll probably make a separate video about how to navigate those moments. It is very common on night 2 of life and at nighttime, but it technically can happen at any point along the breastfeeding journey. So I want y'all to be aware of that. But in general, when a baby is relaxed after feeding, that's a good sign that they nurse well. When the milk has come in, mom's breasts feeling full before the feeding, they should feel softer after the feeding. That's another good sign. And then ultimately the weight. That's the number one sign. Is your baby growing appropriately? If they are growing well, most likely you are doing fine on your breastfeeding journey. But again, don't hesitate to reach out for support, for assistance. If you have questions, there is no silly question. To be supported during your pregnancy and your lactation journey is your birthright. So till next time, I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. I tried to keep it on the shorter side. If you have any questions, any suggestions for upcoming videos, let me know. If you like this video, go ahead and like, share, subscribe.